I try getting reviews out as quickly as I can after the movie's release. But if it's too late, sometimes they'll wind up being lost in the shuffle. What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to my channel. Today we're talking about a newer theatrical release, The Lost City. Before we begin, let me know in the comments what your thoughts on this movie were, if you already saw it, or if you were planning on seeing it, and make sure to hit that thumbs up button if you like these reviews, as it helps me out immensely by getting my content out there. And if you're new here, I hope you consider hitting that subscribe button so you can stay up to date with reviews of new releases, older films, hidden gems, and so much more on a near daily basis. But let's not waste any more time and let's talk about The Lost City. This stars Sandra Bullock as a reclusive romance novelist on a book tour with her cover model, played by Channing Tatum, who gets swept up in a kidnapping attempt that lands them both in a cutthroat jungle adventure. This is directed by brothers Adam and Aaron Nee, and it hit theaters the last weekend of March. Now, admittedly, I'm not a die-hard Sandra Bullock fan. Not that I dislike her or anything, as she can be very charismatic and likable, but I don't rush out to see every one of her works, even though she does have a lot of star power, and her films are usually a success, whether it's in theaters or on streaming. It's just that not every one of her projects is one that I feel I immediately need to check out. But with this, I actually found myself looking forward to this one, as it looked to be a fun, good old-fashioned adventure film in the vein of Romancing the Stone. And it was especially nice to see a good, big-budget star vehicle. Just a big-budget, fairly ambitious film whose whole purpose is just to showcase the talents of its leads. And that's exactly what this is. It's not the most original movie out there, even though it's not based on an existing IP, but it's completely reliant on the star power of Bullock and Tatum, with your enjoyment of both actors ultimately playing into your overall enjoyment of the film. And I thought they had great chemistry. Bullock, who is charismatic here, is essentially the straight man to Tatum, who gets in more of the comedic moments. I've been a big fan of Tatum's comedic work, in particular the 21 Jump Street movies, and he channels a lot of the same energy as those films into this, being a giant goofball who's also well-meaning but tends to be a little counterproductive in the way he approaches situations. And because of that, he's also as charming as ever here, and the interactions between him and Bullock are fun to watch for how well they play off one another. Now, a lot of their dramatic beats can feel pretty by the numbers, as we see how Bullock is very jaded and wants to move on from her hit series, and Tatum's infatuated with her and wants to continue on so they can keep working together, and he wants to impress her, and they spend the course of the film bonding while stuck out in the jungle. But despite a familiar feel, these moments are at least nice to watch because of these actors' personalities. But what impressed me, as I kind of felt from the looks of the trailer, is that while both Bullock and Tatum were good, the film's biggest strengths lied in the supporting cast. Daniel Radcliffe plays the villain, and that was actually another big selling point for me, as since his Harry Potter days, he generally tends to go for more eccentric or out there roles, having not starred in any big budget mainstream films since his time on that series. So I know when he's involved in a project, it's sure to be, at the very least, interesting. And here, he's an absolute blast, as this mustache-twirling villain who's also very charismatic. The way he'd shift from being this smooth talker to suddenly losing his cool out of sheer desperation was another fun aspect of the film. Also in the supporting cast are Divine Joy Randolph as Bullock's agent, who eventually spearheads her own rescue mission for Bullock and Tatum, which finds her chartering a plane with Oscar Nunez in an eccentric bit part, which allows for some great bits with Randolph. And then there's an excellent but completely underused Patty Harrison as Bullock's social media manager, who pops up from time to time along with Randolph as this socially awkward individual who gets relegated to mundane tasks that made for some fun bits. And then you had Brad Pitt in what's essentially a glorified cameo as a special agent brought in to help rescue Bullock. And yeah, without spoiling anything, his part isn't quite that big, given we only see a little bit of him in the trailer, and he doesn't get top billing or anything. But his role is fun, especially in his exchanges with Tatum, and in the little time we see him, he makes the most out of it. The one thing I'll say is that, despite this mainly being a star vehicle for Bullock and Tatum, I really wish they utilized that entire supporting cast so much more than they did here. Because while Bullock and Tatum can both be funny, most of the film's funniest moments actually came from all of them. Problem is, we go for stretches at a time where we don't see any of them, and we instead get these scenes of Bullock and Tatum just talking about how much the books Bullock writes means to the both of them, and how Tatum feels about Bullock, and so on. And I appreciate this attempt at giving these characters an arc, especially one with Bullock still reeling from the loss of her husband, but while the film was definitely funny, it certainly goes on for stretches that extend for a bit too long where we really don't get much in terms of humor. And instead, we're focused on a cliched-filled storyline storyline that comes off as a bit corny. The film definitely sidelined some of its strongest elements in service of this. Even the adventure part of the film doesn't feel as epic or as grand in scale as it should have been because we're focused on some of this repetitive banter. Like even Radcliffe, who is a big part of the film's advertising and is the next biggest part of the film after the two leads, will go for quite some time at certain points without seeing him, which I feel like was such a missed opportunity given how scene-chewing he could be. So it makes this film feel a bit uneven at times. It's still enjoyable, don't get me wrong there. I had a good time with it, and everyone does a great job, and I still found it funny for the most part. And when we do get those laughs, they land really well. But we do go for one stretch too many at times without laughter that I think it could have been tightened up, especially by better utilizing the supporting cast, because then, that way, it could have been a truly great movie. The Lost City is fun, even if it's not a new comedy classic or anything. While it suffers from some tonal inconsistencies and a cliche-ridden storyline, when it lands, it works quite well, acting as a fun throwback adventure film in the vein of Romancing the Stone. Both Sandra Bullock and Channing Tatum are enjoyable, though the film's real strength lies in its fantastic supporting cast, all of whom I wish were utilized so much more. While it can be hit and miss at times, the hits make it definitely worth the watch. The Lost City gets a 7 out of 10. So let me know, did you see The Lost City, or are you planning to see it, and what were your thoughts? Is this one of your new favorite Sandra Bullock movies? Is it one of your new favorite Channing Tatum movies? Let me know in the comments below so we can discuss. Also, if you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and share it, and for more movie reviews and film discussion, please make sure to hit that subscribe button to stay updated. Thanks for watching everyone, and keep having fun with film.